In the recent movie My Fault or Your Fault London, there was a racing scene at Brands Hatch, and as someone who has actually raced and won at Brands Hatch, I thought this would be a perfect kind of video for me to go over and look at all of the little details that were in this 1-2 minute scene and just look at how accurate it is and how good it was on the whole. So with that said, let's jump right on into it.
No, you didn't.
I did. Yes,
You
I did.
didn't.
Happy birthday. To celebrate, I thought I could teach you how to drive.
You won one race.
Okay, so a couple of things I want to mention first of all is he says as he arrives at the track, you didn't. No, you didn't. As if he's only just realised where they are. When you get to Brands Hatch, there is a very long driveway to get into Brands Hatch, and you know from well before this point that you're at Brands Hatch. So there is no way that he only realised what was going on when he actually got to the garage. Because also to get to the garage, you have to drive underneath the race circuit, or sometimes over the race circuit, depending on when you arrive to the circuit. So this timing for him to realise where they are, what they're doing, is very, very late on. So maybe he's quite stupid, I don't know. But he would have realised a lot earlier that they're at Brands Hatch, and I'm sure he could have put two and two together to realise they're doing something.
I'm overjoyed.
Okay, something else I want to mention is they are in garage number 9. Now, this is quite cool for me because this is the actual garage that I was racing in last year at the Indy 500 in the Ford KAs. So that garage that they're going in is the actual garage that I was in. So that's pretty cool for me because I was literally in that garage like 3-4 months ago. So yeah, I don't know if they filmed this before I went there or after I went there. It looks quite miserable. So actually considering they've got to edit a movie, it might have actually been at a very similar time, but it would have been around the same time that I was there.
Overjoyed, just standing there in corduroy. If I told you once, I told you, boy, I'm overjoyed.
Oh yes, the incredibly sexual zipping up another person's racing suit. Oh yes.
I'm overjoyed, just standing there in corduroy.
Okay, so I want to mention a couple of things here. First of all, the most unrealistic part of this isn't that she has booked out Brands Hatch and has got them 2 McLarens to race in. It's the fact that on the spot, he hasn't married this girl. Guys, or girls, if any of your partners gets you a full-on race day in McLarens at any circuit in the country, they're a keeper. Just don't even think about anything else, right? They could be the shortest person in the world. They could be 9'2". It doesn't matter, right? They're a keeper. So that's unrealistic point number 1. Unrealistic point number 2 is the race suits. Now, some of you might be thinking, oh, they're racing cars, they need to put race suits on. When you go to a track in the UK, there's essentially 2 things it can really fall under. One is a track day. Number 2 is a race day. And I think there might be something else that counts as time trials. I'm not sure. It can't be a time trial because they've got 2 cars out on the circuit together and they're going to race. So the question is it a track day or is it a race day? Now, it can't be a race day. The reason why is none of these 2 have racing licenses. I think the woman used to do some junior NASCAR stuff over in America, but that's not in the UK and she wouldn't have renewed her license because she's not currently racing. The guy definitely wouldn't have it. He shouldn't have a race license. There's no reason for him to have done it. And judging by the whole kind of atmosphere, he's never done this before. So he doesn't have a race license. She doesn't have a race license. So therefore, it can't be a race event because you have to have a race license to be able to race. Also, considering the cars that they're using, even if they had gone through the whole process of getting a race license, which he hasn't because he was surprised by the whole thing, I don't think you can actually race McLarens under a standard club license. You'd need to have a national license, which means that you'd have to do a set of races under a club license, get your signatures to show that you're safe before you can upgrade to a race national license, which is what I now have because I got my signatures from last year. So all in all, this cannot be a race event with 2 McLarens. It has to be a track day. And if it's a track day, there aren't any rules regarding what you have to wear in that sense. You can wear whatever you want. When I go and do a track day, I just wear this. When they do McLaren Experience track days, they just wear their normal clothes and they whack on a helmet. Taking gloves, very sensible. Taking racing boots as well can be quite sensible as well. but the whole getting suits thing is pointless. Also, I'm just quite curious why they've got 2 different suits. Like, if you're going to grab suits, just get 2 suits, but I guess you could just get 2 completely different suits. The other thing that I'm going to mention as well is if you are going to go through all of the effort of getting all of the racing gear, let's say hypothetically they said, no, you need to have the full gear on even for this track day if you're going to use our McLarens because of insurance purposes or whatever. They're actually missing a couple of things. Number one is you need to have a neck brace. You need to have a hands device. So that sits on your shoulders and attaches to your helmet. However, they can't have a hands device because the helmets they're using are karting helmets. They have got over there, that is the Arai SK6 helmet. That's the same helmet that I've got. And what you'll notice is if you look on the sides of the helmet, there are no, I forget what they call, but there are no bolts for the hands device to connect into. If you look at, for example, my racing helmet, there is a lovely bolt on the side that your hands device can slot into. These don't have it because they are karting helmets. So these are not car regulation helmets, which means that if they did have to have the proper gear and everything, they would need to have that. Also, if you're driving a McLaren, you have an accident, you probably want to have a hands device on. So yeah, there's a few mismatches. Either you don't have the stuff, or if you have the stuff, you have all of the stuff on. Also, I should mention, they don't have balaclavas either. And if you're racing in a McLaren, that's probably a series where you do need to have a fire-resistant balaclava.
Soldier one, sad soldier boy, I'm overjoyed. You love definitely, maybe God's gift to every lady on the dartboard.
Okay, so he's gone off.
Ladies first.
I'm a gentleman.
Yes, hilarious. Oh, wait, hang on. Did they do a forbidden gear shift? I need to look at this. That would automatically make this a 1 out of 10. Did he downshift? They haven't even got to turn 1. And bro downshifted?
Ladies first.
I'm a gentleman.
Why is he downshifting? They're not in turn 1, so that just doesn't make any sense at all that he's downshifting this early. Yeah, you don't need to downshift that early. It's like they're not even at turn 1.
Can keep up.
Now they're heading into turn 1. Nose to tail.
Oh, you want to play?
So they've gone from turn 1, and now they're at clearway. So we skipped an entire lap. Also, there was a lot of tyre squeal, and if it's in the wet, they would not be tyre squealing because it's wet. And he definitely doesn't have the confidence to push that much in a McLaren. I don't care how good this movie wants to make him out to be. He ain't full on drifting in a McLaren in the wet. Neither of them.
Bring it on.
Oh, just you wait.
So now they're going through clearways. And now they've gone through clearways, and we skip to, they're going through clearways. And now they've gone through clearways, and we skip to Paddock Hill Bend.
Oh, just you wait.
Bro, okay, so he had a moment coming out of, not Paddock Hill, Druids, and the whole car was like squirreling. And then he's like, shit. And then the next thing you know is he's exiting Graham Hill Bend, and he's still doing the same thing. The guy had the entirety of Graham Hill Bend to sort his car out. He's still like losing the rear end for a good like 5-6 seconds through a corner. I mean, fair enough if you've got it that much on the limit. I mean, it's wet at Brands Hatch, so it would be slippery. I have been out on the circuit in the wet, not quite as wet as this, but it was a bit damp and greasy.
Okay, no, I'm coming.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
I know that jumpsuit you're
So now
wearing.
they're in
Did it zip
clearways.
all the way down?
Bro, focus on the race. You can flirt with her afterwards. Like true racing drivers, you're not flirting in the middle of a race. He ain't no racing driver as a result. And no, it doesn't. Well, yes, it does zip all the way down. It'll go down to your waist. That's how racing suits work. I mean, he's got the same race suit. No. Anyway, maybe I just don't get flirting. There's a reason I'm single.
You're so good at trying to distract me, but it's not gonna work.
Whoa,
I know
wait, hang on,
that
hang on, hang on.
jumpsuit you're wearing. Did zip all the way down.
You're so good at trying to distract me, but it's not gonna work.
Is she pressing a clutch? Is she on the clutch or the throttle there? I think that looks like, yeah, it's her right foot. So she's pressing the throttle. She's pressing the throttle and accelerating as she's going into clearways. You would not be doing that. You need to be on the brakes at this point because you're going into the final corner and you have to slow down. So that is 100% not happening. That is a terrible, terrible racing edit job.
I think the only way you're gonna catch me is with a shortcut.
Oh, what do you mean shortcut?
There is actually a shortcut at Brands Hatch because you can do the rallycross circuit. So you go through Paddock Hill Bend and then you immediately turn right and it brings you onto like the back straight. So there is a shortcut, but you would not be taking a McLaren onto that.
Bye.
Oh, we're done. Oh, they don't even come into the pit lane either. They literally just stop on the race circuit. She has paid some good money for this. Like, yeah, as I said, keep her. But fair enough, they just stop on the circuit. And then obviously the post-race making up. Yeah. So in terms of could you do this? Yes, 100%. If you've got the money, you could book a day at Brands Hatch, hire out the circuit, and then do whatever you want. I think that is perfectly doable. In terms of how good the racing was, non-existent. 2 out of 10. I mean, they showed some cars side by side. There was no real racing being shown, unfortunately. And then, to be fair, there was a fair bit of accuracy in what they had to wear, etc., but not completely accurate. But yeah, I'm not going to really say much more than that. Again, if you have any suggestions for other racing scenes that I should review and look at, let me know down in the comments below. But until the next video, I'll see you all next time. Assalamu alaikum.